Well, good morning to you all. This morning we're going to talk about queens. I believe it's entitled Mucking About with Queens. Well, we're going to muck about with queens for a little while. I'm going to show you the methods. You've obviously got to realize that the queen is the most important part of your hive. Without a good queen, you don't get a good crop. You don't get any return at all, and you as a beekeeper lose the bees because eventually they will die out. So we are looking at a good queen. Now, a beekeeper's season starts roughly in August. He's got to get the bees to go into the winter with a good queen so that they come out in the spring with a good queen. So you are now breeding queens that are going to take your hives through the winter. Now, these are the ones we're going to breed from this morning. These are quite a nice breed. I've got a good record of them. They came through the winter very well, and they're now on about 14 or 15 combs of brood. So we're going to go through there in a minute. I'm going to show you first of all the systems of breeding a queen. There are two natural systems. One is called a Cupkit system, which is this, and you enclose the queen in there, and she will lay over there. Now, normally a queen should lay 2,000 eggs a day.
Yeah, just grab that Barrie and bring it this.
So a queen lays 2,000 eggs a day, so you only need to leave the queen in there for about, I should let her go this evening. That's a Cupkit system. That's designed in China. This is a Jenter system, which is designed in Germany. The only basic difference, according to my learned friend, is that the distance of the depth of the cell on the Jenter is 8 millimeter, and on the Cupkit is 12 millimeter. Now the bees seem to like the 8 millimeter, so I tend to use that most of all. So now what we're going to do
is this where I'm going wrong then, Barrie? Because I've been using the Cupkit and it's been absolutely rubbish for me.
Well, I can only say I don't have a lot of success with the Cupkit.
Okay.
But I have a good success rate with this one.
With the Jenter.
In fact, this particular time I've done very well with it. So what you've got to do is get the queen, put her in there, and put her in the hive for. We're going to leave her until this evening. I'll let her go late evening.
By that time, you hear that? So Barrie puts it in for about 46 hours, and the queen lays
plenty.
And then you know exactly how old
yes, she's got 110 cells to lay in. There's 110 cells there. Well, you don't want 110 cells laid in. You only want 60 eggs at the most. So when I come in tonight, I'll just take that off and leave it in the hive for the next 4 days. During that 4 days, the eggs will hatch, and on the 5th day, the larvae will start feeding. So that's the point when you take them out and put them into another hive to breed. Now let's have a look in this hive and find the queen. I've got Heather, my assistant, here. She's helping.
Do you want to show them how to take the caps off the back?
So, sorry?
Do you want to show them how the caps come off the back? So they can...
Yes, we can show them how to put the caps in. This is what you're saying, isn't it? Those are the caps that go in there. Put your hat on. We're going to open the hive in a minute. This is something else I find is advantageous. I put the cups in wood. When you buy it from the manufacturer, they'll give you plastic. Now, bees don't always like a plastic comb. So I find better if I put in an actual wood, which is that one. You will find that
straight in here.
I put 20. Yes, have you got one to show them? There's one there. Barrie will show you how they go in.
So here we go.
So I just opened this hive.
Got these little guys. These are the cups, and they're just swapped. Oh, what am I doing? That's upside down.
Teething problems.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's wrong. I don't know what I'm doing here, Barrie.
You don't?
I really don't. No.
Let me show you.
I think I've got that all completely wrong.
You have got it upside down.
Yes, I thought I had.
Right. When the egg comes out of this little thing, it comes out. Sorry, girls. The actual, when the queen lays in the front there, you take the back off, and these little cells come out the back. I have a tool here which is attached to the comb.
Can the cameraman get a bit closer?
Can the camera get a bit closer?
Yeah.
I can get a bit closer.
He's a bit afraid of bees, that's the trouble. Yes, when the queen lays in these cells, you take them out like that. You check that you've got an egg in it, and you cap it
Right, hang on, got
on it. And that goes into this comb like that. Just push it in there, and you push 2 rows of 10.
Thank you.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Good. Now we've got to find the queen. So we're going to have a quick look through. We don't need that because we're going to put a comb in. So we have a look. Plenty of brood, as I told you.
I'm guessing she's marked.
She's marked green. She's last year's queen, July last year. My second pair of eyes is watching with me, as you can see.
You got a third pair of blind eyes over here.
Oh, blind eyes in front. Barry's very good at finding queens, so he's giving me a hand as well. That's a good comb of brood, look.
yeah. You can just see the wire foundation.
Yes, you can see the wire.
This may take a little while.
Sorry to keep you short waiting, but I can usually find the queen. She usually waits for me, but she's not doing this morning. Yes, she is.
Which one?
There's the queen.
Putting them in front.
Okay, so I want them a bit gentle. And you put the end on. Now here's the queen. See her?
Yep.
And now she goes in there. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
Now that's the queen in the cage. So now you're going to put the cage. Where's the back? That should come out there. Yeah. So the queen's in the cage. So she goes in there. I picked this hive to breed from because, as you can see, they're fairly docile. I haven't used any smoke this morning, and they're usually pretty good. If you can't handle the bees, don't start queen rearing with them because you're going to have to go through the hive quite a lot when you're actually queen rearing. So now this hive has got a full soup of honey on it almost. But I shall leave the queen in there until this evening. I shall then come and let her loose. Now after that period of time, when I take the comb out of tonight, and I take the loose to queen tonight, you leave her for 4 days. Now 4 days doesn't start until the first day after she lays the eggs. So if you're looking at the calendar, tomorrow would be day 1. And on the 4th day, it's like the old story 4, 5, 7, is it? 4, 5, 7. Anyway, 4 days for the egg to hatch and start being fed. Don't start queen rearing until you've got royal jelly in the comb, because if you do, the bees will eat the eggs and say, thank you very much, we had egg and bacon for breakfast.
So that's royal jelly in the base of the cupkit or the
Yes,
Jenter
you should see a little grub in the royal jelly. Now the bees feed the grub, and you see the grub going round in circles in the cell. Now what's happening there? The bees are feeding the grub ahead of it going round, so that it's always going round and eating. Now, as you probably know, it has more than one mouth. It has a series of mouths down its thorax. So it's going to eat a lot of royal jelly in the next 5 days. And after that, you find that your grub has grown to the size of almost a full bee, and you can expect some good queens from it. However, we've got to stage 1. We've put the queen in that hive. She's on a comb on the comb which he's going to breed on. Now this is the next stage. And this is what I think Barrie just showed you a few moments ago. 4 days time, when the eggs have got to the point where there's royal jelly in them, you've got to take each of those cells out and put them in here with the top on which Barrie has showed you. That's that. It's that way up, of course. Now, any bees will build a queen cell out of any comb that is facing downwards. They will not build a queen cell out horizontal like a normal bee is born. So anything you put in the hive, in any hive, with pointing downwards, they'll turn into a queen cell. So now we're going to we got, say for example, 4 days time, we got this full of eggs. So we then go to your breeder hive, which again you pick for qualities which are good mothers. Some hives breed better than others. I picked this one this morning.
We left the speaker behind somewhere.
Oh, we've lost the speaker, sorry. Sorry, we lost the speaker for a few moments.
There we go.
Now this is a hive which I use this time for breeding the queens. Now, as I said, in 4 days time when that queen is hatched, I would put the comb in here, not in this one, in with the queen, above the excluder. You've got to put it above the excluder. Now, I put the comb in there, it's full of eggs, and I leave it for, say, 24 hours, then I have a quick look and see how many queens they've made. Now,
Is this the blue Peter job then, Barrie, you when I did earlier?
Sorry?
Is this the blue Peter job, where there's one that you did earlier?
Yes, I'm not quite sure where.
That one there.
Is it that one? No, it's not.
There's
It's that
nursery
one.
on it.
One with nursery on it. Now I marked the top of the comb so you can see which one it is. Now we're pretending we've put the comb in here this morning. I actually put it in
Hang on a second, we're just losing.
10 days ago. Now what have you got? A series of queen cells.
Is that okay, Sam?
Sorry?
Sam, are we okay?
Catching up
Can you see
slowly.
the queen cells?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Sam, I can't hear you.
Yep, we're now back. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
It
back.
fetch
Okay.
me a comb with cells ducts in it. Now here's your queen cells. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We've got 16 queen cells here, which will hatch out in 4 days' time. So now what we're going to do this morning, I would normally sit in the car with a heater on to do this, because you don't want to get the queen cells cold. But this morning, we're going to do it here. So, I've left my removal tool. Right, now these queen cells, as I say, are due to hatch, so we're going to put them in these cages because we don't want them to hatch.
Yep.
If you just give me the yellow bit, I'll cross them back to you. You've just got to quickly go over to...
Do I put them back into the cage? No.
Into what?
Do I put them back into the cage?
Yeah. So give me the yellow bit.
So it's quite a quick job we're doing here.
Yeah,
It is quite a...
sorry, so Barry's been putting them on there and then passing them over to Heather, who's putting the cage on top,
Okay.
like that, and then putting them in a frame. So we need to
Is
choose
it
one.
Barrie? Is it? Show a bit close up if you want to.
Yes.
Many
You
years.
want both frames there, Barry?
Yes, please. I don't want to come back to this because we want to leave this. I'm going to leave this now for 4 days.
I'm guessing we're seeing what's going on again.
Got a connection below that.
So this is real-time beekeeping. This is not. This is the real thing.
We can hear the metal roof being tapped quite a bit, so speakers.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep. That's fine.
What was that?
I'll sort that out in a sec. There you go.
Barrie,
Hopefully
can I
that's
ask
better for you.
Can I ask a question, Barrie? Can you hear me?
You can ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. You're not putting any honey in the bottom of those cages. You're going to rely on the bees feeding the queen.
The bees will feed the queen for the first 24 hours at least on their own, because they haven't got a queen in the hive, don't forget, so they're expecting a queen.
So you're going to put them all in the hive and you're not going to put them in the incubator, yeah?
No, in this instance, I've got enough down the house to put in the incubator.
Right.
So I've got, you can see out of interest, they're beginning to eat the top of the comb, top of the cells away. So they will not be long before they hatch. Say Tuesday, they do to hatch.
So they've weakened the cell, ready for the queen.
Yes,
Yeah.
Barrie,
They're reducing the,
And we focus on my beautiful hand and the queen cell there, so you can see that the top.
you give me one comb back if you like. I just only got it in there. Now here is one comb ready. This is ready to go in the hive. So that's the comb that can go straight in the hive.
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay, Valerie had a question.
Yeah,
why,
Valerie, okay, again.
why do you put them above the queen excluder? Is there a queen at the bottom of on the brood chamber?
Can you speak in English?
Yeah. I need a
I mean,
translator.
What did you say, Valerie?
You have said you put those frame above the queen excluder.
Yes.
Why do you do that? Is there a queen at in the brood chamber there?
No, because I'm going to put the queen back in the hive to make the bees build the queen cells. I've taken the queen out of the hive for 24 hours.
Where did you put her?
In a little nucleus. Put her anywhere you like, just in the nucleus. Just close her in the nucleus for 24 hours.
And so next tomorrow you would put the queen back to the hive? Yes.
Yes, you get the queen back to the hive, because the bees will never pull down a queen cell once they've started making it. So if they've started making it, which you've checked, as soon as they start making the cells, you can put the queen back in. So in this instance, I took the queen out for a day, checked, and they'd made, how many cells we got there? 10, 12, 14, 15, 16? 16 cells they'd made in a day. So now once they start making the cells, you can put the combs back into put the queen back in the same hive. Now in this instance, we're going to have to put an extra comb.
Underneath, because you have put a queen excluder. You put her back in the brood chamber.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically,
Did you get that one in very well?
so long as the queen needs to be kept separate from these queen cells.
Yeah.
So she may want to kill them once they're all ready to hatch. So she needs to be kept in a.
Yes, if you don't close the bees in. Okay. We've got here 10, 12, 16 combs in this hive. So now we put this back in the hive. We've seen the combs, we've seen the queen cells, we know they're ready to go.
And we've got this queen excluder down here, that's right.
That's the queen excluder is there at the moment. Yeah. So the queen is in the hive.
Okay.
She's in the hive as normal. It's a normal hive, but it's got a honey super on here as well. So here's a honey super which I'm going to put back on.
Okay, so recap. On day 4, you remove the queen from your nurse bee hive.
Correct.
Put the cells in.
Sorry, the queen on day 1, when you only need the queen in the cage for about 6 or 8 hours. During that time, she's laid enough eggs for you to breed queens from. So now you've got in the say you put the queen back in the hive. Now this hive here, you take the queen out of, because you've got to make a hive to make bees breed a queen cell. You've got to make it queenless. So you take the queen out of this hive and put her in a small nucleus just for 24 hours. During that 24 hours, your bees will make a queen cell from whatever eggs you put in, because they have the feeling that they've lost their queen and they've got to make some queen cells. So now, at that point, you now know you've got you've got in that instance 16 queens, which will hatch on 4 days' time. So you decide now what are you going to do with that?
Hang on.
Are you going to?
Video.
Sorry.
We've lost video.
Are you?
Sorry, Sam. What was the problem?
We've lost video from you, Barry.
Okay.
There we go. Back. Okay, sorry. As you're saying, Barry.
Okay. Sorry, I understand that was a slight technical hitch. Anyway, yes. So you've got in here 16 queen cells that will hatch. Now, next thing you've got to decide is what you're going to do with the queens when they hatch. Now, do you want to make? I mean, you can make a little nucleus up. These are little nucleus which you can make up if you want to be laying queens. This is the sort of thing you would use. This is a rainbow mating hive. It's got, this one's about 2 or 3 weeks old. See if I can find a queen for you. They build quite a nice little comb, as you can see. They build that from scratch, but you have got to feed them fairly heavily. Another point I would mention at this point, if you have, if you buy one of these hives, never put never put those together like that, because for some reason the Germans and the Chinese make a smaller cap. Have we got a cap handy? Which will fall through there. So, but if you put it half there,
Oh, right. I see.
you can then put it in.
There's the queen.
Now there's the queen. Look, can you see here? There, look.
We've got a very grainy video here.
Oh, she's here.
Have you got video?
Yeah, it's
Yeah?
very grainy video. We've got a small connection.
Oh,
There she goes. Look,
So
there's
we
your
saw her.
queen.
Saw her. I saw her.
oh, good. Yeah. And Barry, did you notice that I found that queen?
Well, it's pleasant to know you can. All this teaching I've been messing about for the last 2 or 3 years with you.
That's longer than that, Barry.
Yes, if you put those cells, those cones like that, that will then drop in there, and it won't drop through. I don't know whether they've got bigger bees than we have in China and Germany, but that goes straight through there.
Yeah.
It'll fall through, but if you put it like that, it'll stay on top. So that's where you put the queen.
So these rainbows is just another form of the mini mating nuke.
Yes, it's a thorns one.
Yeah. I've bought 4 of these myself and yet to use them, so I'm very interested in looking at this thing.
Well, they work perhaps the best I've seen them. The only thing I've had to do is to put that on the front, because they don't put this on. The entrance, as far as thorns are concerned, is just there. You move that down and there's the entrance.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to like that.
No.
So I put my own entrance on and just make it so I can see them coming and going. Now, how do we make a nucleus up? Well, it's quite easy. There's a bucket just there. Huh? You've got bees, first of all. Now, you need a couple of bees in each nucleus. Now, this is a nucleus. Heather, could I just ask you to open that hive there and give me a queen cell out, please? Yeah, the next one will do, either of those. Now, this is an empty mini nuke. As you see, it's all ready to go. They've got I've put in a little bit of wax in there to help them start. And we're going to make a mini nuke out of this.
Gotta watch carefully on this, guys. Barry doesn't hang around.
Oh. Okay, is that right? So now you need a cup full of bees in there.
But we had such a low frame rate the last time you did this. There was in one case you were holding the frame of bees, and the next minute they're all gone.
Oh, really?
They were in the bucket.
Okay. Well, we put the hive on together. We open the bottom. You can open the bottom, put the bees in there, or you can open the top and put the bees in, whichever you like. With this instance, let's put the bees in the top, and then you can see it going in. Now you've got to get a cup full of bees in there. So now, how do you do it? You get a frame of bees. You think, well, there's not many bees there, so we shake them in the bucket.
That very distinctive cap. get them
We've
in
got
there.
quite a tap. There's a few more bees on there. So we probably need 3 combs of bees.
And if I'm right, Barry, you're taking these out of a super, so you don't have to worry about.
Don't have to worry
getting
about the queens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll have 3 combs of bees in there. 3rd comb coming up. There's your comb. And there's your bees. Now you shake, you've got your bees in there. You shake them to one side.
Okay. Have a look.
Just take one of them. One.
Yeah. All right, Barry, we're losing.
Take 2 and put 1 in your pocket. Now you've got those in there, so you just pour them in there. Pour them.
You've done that too quick. Didn't
Sorry,
see it.
The bees won't wait.
They won't wait. They'll come out if you don't do it. You don't do it fairly quick.
Yeah, you have to be.
So now you've got a
Yes,
hive.
is the word we're looking for.
Sorry?
Do you ever spray them with sugar syrup?
You can't put sugar syrup in a nucleus. No, not in a mini nuke because it runs out.
No,
You
no,
mean try it?
it said,
Can you
it
not
said on,
spray-
it said on the,
spray
on
the
the
bees?
rainbow instructions.
Well, you can if
spray
you
the
want
bees.
to.
Yeah, spray the
for?
bees with them.
Why do you
Don't
want to
do that.
drown them?
I don't know, it just said it made them ball together better. Those are the instructions, that's why I was asking.
Were they difficult just then? Didn't they bind together?
No, I was reading the instructions and it just said spray the bees with sugar syrup because it helps them bind
So-
together. I just
So
asked.
basically, Barry, in your experience, you
Well,
can do that if
I
you want,
found
but
it,
you
don't
don't.
need to do that. It's so we've now got a nucleus. Now that's this hive can now go back. It's got the queens in there, which you know is going to hatch in a few days' time, and we're now going to put this hive back together. Heather has just got me a queen cell. There's another hive, which we're going to put in here. So as I was telling you, there's the queen cell. So this is the mini nuke, which you've got to keep. It goes into there. So there's your queen cell, the bees, and everything's all ready to go.
Okay.
Did you
And
put
that
some
one's put in.
fondant? Did you
Pardon?
put some fondant in it?
Sorry, can we say that again?
Did you put some fondant in it? To feed
Yes,
the-
it's full of fondant.
Yes, yes.
It's quite heavy. There's about a quarter of a kilo of fondant in there. It's completely full.
Is this for the bees?
I want to show you in the one that's going.
Oh, that's all right. So, okay, I thought it was
Okay.
there.
Well, it's got a glass in it.
Right.
That's the hive of the one you just seen the queen in. These are building a bit of comb there. That section there is for fondant. So that I can show you, in fact.
Yeah, we've got a very slow frame rate. Okay.
That lifts out. There is your fondant.
You see that, Valerie? I think was it Valerie that asked?
Valerie, that's
Yeah.
Valerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's.
So that you've got you have to feed fondant every week. They will empty this compartment in a week. So you've got to do just what I'm doing. Pick it out. The bees won't fly off. They'll go back to where they're used to going. I've got several of these, you know, down the house. But that's how your nuke will go, and that's in a I put this in a cool place for about 24 hours. That gives them time to get the scent of the hive and to create the wax.
So you leave it closed up.
I leave it
24
closed
hours.
up for 24 hours in the cool.
Yeah.
So that's the one I should leave closed up. So we'll put this hive back together.
Okay. Just find a better location for signal, Barry.
Just a minute. Any better?
Yeah. So the mini nuke is this self-contained unit, a couple of bees, enough fondant for a few days, and a queen cell. Lock it up for 24 hours.
If it's full of fondant, it will last you a week. But any nucleus, you've got to feed very heavily because the bees are not strong enough to go and get their own food. So the amount you put in there is only enough to keep the hive warm. So you've got to feed continuously. So that one we'll take home with us when we go. So you've decided in that instance you're going to make some mated queens. So that's how you make a mated queen. The question is, do you want to make all those mated queens, or do you want to make some nucleus? Well, the next move is to make a 3-comb nucleus. So we'll go over and have a look at a 3-comb nucleus. If Barry can disconnect and follow.
Yeah, we're ready. Let's just have a quick look at this. This is, Barry's, I call this the neonatal unit. We've basically got bees absolutely everywhere if you've never been to this place. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, we've got a very low connection, Barry.
Okay. You want me to go around again?
Yeah, it does very slow frames. We've got a very...
Okay.
We're getting a slightly better signal at the moment, but...
Right. Good. Okay. So we're at this...
There is actually about 28 hives here.
Barry's only got 28 hives here. Pretty poor, really, Barry, isn't it?
Yeah. Heather's trying to catch up with it. Heather started off suggesting that she was going to have 3 hives in her garden. I think she's chasing 30 at the moment. Every time I see her, she tells me she's got another hive. Anyway, this is a nucleus. Now, I find this system very good. It's simply 3 combs 3 times. So you've got 3 queens in each hive. Now, these I fed last night, and that one's taken it completely. That's about 2/3 gone. That one hasn't taken it at all. So this one...
So Barry, before you kind of get into this, so these are lovely little things that so you basically use in your national box.
It is a national box.
3.
A national box split into 3.
And then you've got your combs in there.
Yes.
A lot of people just buy nuke boxes and just do them into nuke boxes.
Yes, either way. I find this idea, each one keeps the other one warm. So you haven't got, because any nucleus, you cannot breed nucleus in a mesh floor, with a mesh floor. It's impossible, because they don't keep warm enough. The nucleus must be kept very hot.
Right. So do it for maximum efficiency.
For the maximum efficiency, yes.
Keep it warm.
Yes.
Get them going. Yeah.
So now, what do you do with your hive? You simply you go around your colony, as I'll show you in a minute, and get 2 combs of brood. It must be sealed brood because you want it to hatch fairly quickly to make your nucleus. And you put 2 frames of brood plus now this one here is about 4 weeks old. So the queen actually is laying. Now that is a 3-comb nucleus. Now they've all got the separate entrances. This one is here. This is the white entrance. You've got one. This one here is there, and that one is there. So you've got 3 queens in here in the process of being mated. Now, if you want to make this into a hive, well, you can bring it and we'll put it on top here and show it, Barry.
So Barry, just on this, just going back to this 3-frame use. So when you set it up, you put a frame of stores, I guess.
Yes.
A frame of nearly sealed brood.
Frame of sealed brood, a frame of stores, and a new frame.
And an empty
The new frame tells you when they have, in fact, started laying, because they pull this out very rapidly.
Right.
This was a new sheet of foundation. And that's what the situation is it's in, you see.
Wow. Impressive, isn't it?
She is laying fairly well.
So you've got your queen, and you started her laying in the rainbow hive. Is that right?
Started laying in the rainbow hive.
And then how do you pop her in this nuke? Or are you going to?
Well, you simply get your 2 frames of bees from any hive. It's best if you take one from one hive and one from another hive, because then the bees are different scent.
Right.
And you just put it in here, pick the queen out the nucleus, pop her on a comb, and see if they accept. If they go for her, then you've got to rethink and put her in a cage for a little while.
Right.
But normally, if you shake the bees in, as we did, they will take a queen straight away.
You do them all in one go. You don't have to wait for the bees to sort of open themselves to each other before you put the queen in.
No, you don't need to wait.
Wow.
So we've got that's the first frame. So we know we're going to make a nuke. Now this can go into a hive.
So next up, we've got this nuke, and we want to build it into a full-size hive.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So Barry's taking that one out, and we're moving over here. It's making me work for my living today.
Well, I don't believe in standing about. So this queen is laying quite well.
Dave, look, he's putting a nuke into a hive.
Yeah, we're putting a.
Now this was on 2 combs of bees about 5 weeks ago, on the last lot of queens I got.
She's from a 3-frame nuke.
And she's now.
There she is.
There's the queen, look, marked with this patch of blue.
You see, I saw her as well. I found her the second time.
She flapped her wings when I went to measure touch her. But she is laying extremely well, as you can see. She's got a complete 3 combs of brood. Now 3 combs of brood go into your hive.
Bring the other one over, please, Aaron.
We'll put, for this instance, we'll put 1 foundation at the front. Bring the bees back a bit.
So this national box that we're going in, you'll see that Barry's sealed up the entrance at the front.
Again, I've sealed the entrance because you have to take it away from your apiary. If you put this into your back into the same apiary, the bees will come out of here and come back into here. Yep. So you have to move this hive away from here to, well, any time you like. But as you see, she's laying very well. That side is completely full. Look. Yeah, it's completely full of brood.
So you would take that hive in your home, Barry? Would you take in your home this hive now?
I guess it needs to be taken about 3 miles away, does it?
It needs to be taken about 3 or 4 miles away, yes. I mean, I will take this home with me now and a while when we're finished here and let them go and make sure I've fed them, because you'll find a nucleus of this quality with a queen like this that's laying so well, she will double in size in about 6 weeks. So you'll have a 6-comb nuke within 6 weeks, and you'll certainly get a full colony before the winter.
So this colony that you've now made up, it's a viable colony.
It's a viable colony, yes.
Full size. So when you move it to its new location 3 miles away, you then feed it, or just
feed it heavily?
You feed it heavily.
The more you feed it, the quicker it will build. And always remember, thin food is for breeding, thick food is for storing.
So one thing that I've noticed, and it's been a bit of a puzzle for me, so I've got this nuke and we need to feed it like you have those other ones you're feeding. So I put the feeders on, feed them, and they take it all down, and they just basically completely fill up the nuke box with the food that you've got. So there's nowhere for the queen to lay.
Well, you're feeding a bit too much in that case. Normally they would take a honey jar full a night. That's a rough guide.
Okay.
I mean, these will settle down in here now, and we'll be able to. I'll say, if I take this home and feed it for the next 2 or 3 weeks, it'll be across the brood chamber, because they will pull out and lay. Now, coming back to this hive, you're going to say to me, "Oh, you've left some bees in there," which we have.
Barry, you've left some bees in there.
All right, thank you. Now, what do we do about it? Well, we simply go around to our hives again, and the process starts again. You pick two combs out, which, funny enough, I happen to have here.
Okay, so you're just going around take out 2 combs from different colonies, and basically restock it, then pop another queenie.
No, I'm just telling you.
And then off you go again.
I've tried this on so tight, I haven't got any method of putting it on.
With the apidia, he's just been through that. He said when you put.
Sorry, I can hear someone talking. Is there a question there?
Put them that way, like that, because the egg will drop through
Helen.
the middle.
Helen, we can hear you talking.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
That's fine. That's fine. I just wondered if there was a question there.
Now this is 2 combs that I picked out of a hive this morning, which we're going to start off another nucleus. So there is your spare comb, which you put into it to know when they're ready. Here's your second comb, which should be brood.
That's very sealed.
Brood. You see that one?
Yep.
So this, if you just just take one moment to just enjoy the beauty of this this particular frame. I've always noticed that beekeepers have been doing this game for a long time. All the brood frames are perfectly uniform, nice and even. There's no holes through them. All absolutely beautiful. So, thing of beauty. Thank you, Barrie. Sorry.
So that's your comb
Thing of beauty.
there. And here's your comb from another hive of food. And it's food and pollen, you see.
Just
You've
let us
got
get a
lots
bit
of pollen to go with. So you put it in there. Now if Heather fetches me another queen cell from the spare hive that I've got some more queen cells in.
Oh, we're not running a live queening. We're just going to do that.
We're just going to sell in.
Queen cell in.
I had a good session of queen rearing this time. I must confess, I got almost 60 queens off my last hatch. So it's I've got plenty of queen cells at the moment.
Do we have any questions?
I've got a comment. Don't forget to fill up the feeders.
Don't forget to what, sorry?
Fill up the feeders.
Fill up the feeders, right. Yeah.
That's a good point, because that's totally empty.
So basically, they would get through one of those in 24 hours.
Yes, well, less than that. I put it on last night.
Oh, right.
A good colony, well, as this one was, as you've seen, which is now in the hive, a good colony, we only want one. You got a cap for me? So here we are taking another queen cell from another hive, which is ready. And I'm hoping she's going to get me a little yellow cap. If not, I'll show you what we do. We take out the comb with the brood is on. You got the thank you very much. Pop it down. So there's your queen cell that you're going to want to queen from this hive. You pick a space where there's not much to work to hurt. Press that in and put it in your nucleus.
So Barrie, this can go that can basically go anywhere.
Yes,
between.
It wants to be in the centre because your heat is in the centre.
Right. So between the
Between
food and the brood.
Between the strongest two combs, yes. You don't want to put it here.
No.
It must be in the warm.
Okay.
Again, everything in a nucleus depends on heat.
Can I just make one comment, Barrie? So I've done this. I copy what Barrie does, and it all ends up with me a complete shambles. And it's all because I'm not taking into account some of the details. So he makes up these lovely 3-frame nukes. I do the same. Mine are a load of rubbish. The thing that I've done wrong is that these need to be, it looks like 12 mil thick.
12 mil, yes.
Yeah, 12, 15 mil thick. I've been making them with thinner stuff, and it bows and leaves little gaps, and it's just.
See, this one is another.
So just bear that in mind if you want to copy this system.
See, that is the middle one of the three.
I think you've got four frames. Yeah.
Yes, no, it's a clear board. It's a dummy board.
Oh, that's a dummy board on the end. Yeah.
Yes, when you split a brood box into three, you can't do exactly 3 frames. So you've got to put a dummy board in between each.
Right. Yeah.
So this queen is not laying yet.
Again, this is where I made a mistake of dividing them exactly right. So I have a little bit of a gap at each end, and then it fills it with comb, and you don't get the beautiful comb that.
Right, that's probably the answer. But it's no, I mean these I don't think. Well, I know the queen is not mated here.
I believe I can answer this question here. Did Barrie build the nuke or bought it? I believe he built it.
I built every hive I've got. I just had one sting. That's my first sting today.
You did warn me that these guys were a little bit on the rubber side.
That was a thank you for that answer.
See, there is that again that comb they've drawn out, but she's not laying yet. Beautiful look.
Nice white than the honey.
A new, yes, a new comb I put in here. but she's not laying yet. She's due to be laying anymore. She's a sister of the one we've just taken, funny enough, but she's taking a long time.
Once you put the queen cell in, that would hatch after 2-3 days. It would take a week or so for it to mature.
Yes, it does.
Possibly the next week,
Yeah,
you've made it in that lay.
yeah. I would hope this is one of the next ones I would get to make a hive from.
It's very busy right now.
Yes, they're all fairly strong. If you make sure that you put plenty of seal brood in the nucleus, you know very well you've got only a week or so before the nucleus doubles in size.
And I guess as soon as she's laying on that end comb, you've got to take it out and put
Take
it
it out,
into
yeah.
the colony. You can't leave them.
Yes, you mustn't cramp them. Once the queen starts laying, she lays very rapidly. And you've got to put them in a larger hive very quickly. I say you can put them in a nucleus, as that one is, or you can put them into a main hive. And I find the best thing is to put them into the main hive. Leave them, don't open the ends fully. Give them about 1.5 to 2 inches, and you'll find that the nucleus will increase rapidly and give you another hive. I say it takes about 3 hatchings to get onto 10 combs. So you've got to think on 21 days, 3 times, 60 days to get a full colony.
Okay, I've got another
there
question.
you are.
2 months. Yeah.
So you've been right from the egg to making the hive. So now you know, and I expect to hear lots about you making queens and new colonies. So if there are any
We've got another
questions,
question.
Yeah.
What is the percentage of the feed that you're using? Is it a 50-50 or a thinner mix? Or thicker?
25 to 1 always for feeding bees.
25 to 1.
Yes, 10, because if you think about it, the nectar that's coming in from the plants is about 17%. Now the bees are used to having a 17% mix from the natural flowers. So if you imitate that by giving them very close to it, a cupful to a litre is what I normally use.
Okay, a cup
Cupful being a no, I don't know. I just put a cupful of sugar into a litre of water, which I think I've worked out before is about 25 to 1.
Right. 5 to 1 it will be.
25 to 1. 25 cups in a litre, isn't it?
300 grams.
Sorry?
300 grams is a cup.
300 grams. Okay.
That's right. Anyway, you don't want much. And so if you give it too thick, they will store it. If you give it too thin, they won't take it. So, say, I've found a cupful to a litre works perfectly well.
Okay, so I've probably been giving them too much, too thick, so they've just gone down
Putting
and
it in store it.
Yeah. So I make every mistake. It's great.
Yeah, but to say they will take it. Say that one, as you saw, took it. I fed them about 6 o'clock last night, and it's empty now. So a good nucleus will take one of those a day. But there you are. So you've gone right through from an egg to a complete hive. That's great. So there you are. So if you've got any questions, ask Barrie, Heather, or myself. We're all experts, as they tell us. And Barrie particularly.
Okay.
Anyway.
I think
You're welcome to unmute yourselves and ask a question.
Say again, sorry about Sam?
You're welcome to unmute yourselves and ask a question.
Okay, right, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so anyway, there we are.
Maybe some questions.
Are there questions? Come along.
No.
Helen, you must have questions.
Are you? Could we come and see you as a group, or can we come individually to see you? With the coronavirus, I don't know what to do really.
Sorry, Valerie, I didn't quite catch that. You were saying about comments?
Yes, if we come, can we come to see Barrie individually, or can we come as a little group in his apairy? Because with the COVID-19, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not going to want to make everybody in danger if anything happens.
Valerie, you know very well, if you phone me, you can come out any afternoon you like, and we'll spend the afternoon with the bees.
Yeah, there won't be groups of people to look at hives, but on individual basis, that's absolutely fine. As long as you're outside one-to-one, there's no problem.
Okay.
Social distancing and all that applies, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you can't social distance totally from the bees, but you can say, as we are now, we're all about 1.5 meters apart. And you're welcome to come and stay that distance anytime you wish.
Yeah, and if you're interested in what I'm up to, I'm going to have another bash at queen rearing in the next week or so. So if anybody wants to come and see my attempts at it, then they're more than welcome.
You can't refuse that offer.
Can we get a group photo at the end?
Oh, the group photo at the end.
Sorry.
Group photo.
Us all socially distanced, you mean?
Stand behind Barry.
Yeah, we'll all stand behind Barry.
Come on then.
Valerie has another question.
Do you want to do something with it? Do you want to do something with
Okay,
it?
yeah.
There we go. Let's have a look in this one. See, there's come this side, this the other side, if you like, both on the same side. This is another one which is not quite ready. You see.
I'll let Barry bring the camera around. Did Valerie have another comment?
No, I thought Barry had finished, so he could take his veil off, like that we can see his face for posterity.
Yes, he may as well take his veil off because I can see bees on the inside of his veil. So.
Oh, they're friendly.
So.
It's like when you go in the car. You always take a few in the car with you as friends. You can talk to them then. Yeah, I've got a couple inside my veil. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Barry. I think we're there. That's been great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing some results from some of you.
Yeah, and thank you, Sam, for opening at your end.
Yes, thank you, Sam, and thank you, Barry, and Heather.
Yeah.
Thank you all. That was great.
Okay.
Very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you've learned something.
Yeah. Cheers, then.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.